Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for March 29th, 2013. Of course, it's Good Friday and also in the middle of Passover, and we have a lot of holidays going on this weekend. So let's take a look at this forecast, which actually isn't all that bad compared to what we've been dealing with over the past couple of weeks. And also, I have some really good news for all of you at the end of this forecast. So, first, we're going to start with the current temperatures. We're ranging from the upper 20s to lower 30s over your northern interior, like around Poughkeepsie, and mid to upper 30s elsewhere along the coast, of lower 40s in Philadelphia, basically the influence of the urban heat island. And you can see winds are pretty much light and variable, and we have scattered to variable cloud cover throughout the region. Taking a look at the radar, you can see we have a few isolated showers here over portions of New England. Once again, these pesky disturbances will be able to produce a few isolated showers here and there. Nothing widespread again, more of a nuisance once again, but there'll still be a threat this afternoon, especially once the sun stabilizes the atmosphere just a bit to produce an isolated shower or two. And that's going to remain a threat throughout Saturday as well. Even though high pressure will be even more in control, there still is an isolated threat for a shower. Otherwise, temperatures are going to rebound nicely into the upper 40s to lower 50s over northeastern Pennsylvania, lower to mid 50s elsewhere. The latest infrared satellite picture shows a few of these disturbances still rotating around, not really producing anything significant in nature, but they're just going to be pesky. This warm front right here is going to move through on Sunday. Now, what I'm expecting for Easter Sunday is dry conditions for much of the day, but by the later afternoon and evening hours, as that warm front is pushing north, look for a few scattered showers, but nothing like a washout or anything of that nature, more of a nuisance if anything else. So while you're driving home, you could be dealing with a few scattered showers here and there. The good news is that Sunday is going to be relatively warm, warmer than it has been, that is for sure, with temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, possibly even a few lower 60s over portions of southwestern New Jersey. So let's get to this forecast, because I think you're going to like what you're going to see. So first, we're going to start for this evening. Again, high pressure generally in control, a few isolated showers here and there. Remember, the mid-levels are much colder than the surface, and that's what's producing the threat for these scattered showers because of instability. By Saturday, we're going to be under the influence of this ridge a little bit more, so the threat for a shower is even more isolated. Can't rule it out completely, but most locations will remain dry and tranquil, with temperatures in the lower to mid-50s for highs. On Sunday, that warm front's approaching, but I think, again, most of the rainfall holds off until later in the afternoon and evening hours. Temperatures rebound nicely into the mid to upper 50s. You're looking at lows basically in the lower to mid 30s. Now, Monday's going to be an interesting day. Obviously, it's the start of the baseball season. The cold front, I think, is not going to move through until late in the afternoon and evening hours. And both baseball games, the Mets and the Yankees, the Phillies are down in Atlanta, both start around 1 p.m. So I think for the majority of this game, it will remain dry with scattered cloud cover. Temperatures are going to be rising into the mid to upper 50s, possibly even a few lower 60s here and there. If you're at Citi Field or at Yankee Stadium, you probably won't be in the lower 60s because you're going to have that fetch coming right off of the Atlantic Ocean, and thus temperatures are a little bit cooler. So prepare for upper 50s and basically scattered cloud cover and generally dry conditions. You could see a shower at the very end of the game. Otherwise, that cold front moves through in the evening. What follows thereafter is basically a slight cool down with temperatures falling back into the lower to mid 50s, but nothing too extreme. Notice all the cold air is getting locked up here in Canada where it could stay because it is time for spring. Now, notice this high pressure system. By the time that cold front moves out on Monday evening, by Tuesday, high pressure is in control. This high pressure system, by the end of the forecast period, shifts off the coast. And that is a really, really important observation because, as you can see, by the time we get to Thursday, what do we have at all levels of the atmosphere? We have a southwesterly flow, and that means warm air, and that means a nice rise in our temperatures into the upper 50s to mid 60s. We're getting even warmer than that because by the end of the forecast period, and this is my gift to you, an early Easter gift or a Passover gift, depending on what you celebrate out there, trough in the west, ridge in the east, Warm conditions taking hold. Say hello to 60s, maybe even a few 70s out there by the time we head into next weekend. So, yes, spring is on the way. It's been a little bit delayed, but it looks like the pattern is starting to shift very slowly, very gradually, but the warm air is on the way. That is your forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. There will be no updates on Sunday as I celebrate Easter. So if you're looking for updates, I'll have them on Saturday and I'll have them on Monday, but not on Sunday. Thank you again for being a follower of NYNJPA Weather. I'll have the latest weather updates at nynjpaweather.com and NYNJPA Weather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.